This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, south of Nigeria. Today is all about the U.S.-Israel war on Iran and, just trying to find out the real cause of this particular matter, because in every war there's always an end game. And pundits have been asking this question: is this going to be an endless war? Is the war even useless or useful? What impact does it have on global peace? After all, the Middle East, when it starts boiling, definitely it has this effect on other parts of the world, directly or indirectly. 10 days was given for them to consult. 10 days was given to Iran to agree to the said new deal. Right now in court, all of a sudden, bombardment here and there, saying Iran refused to play ball. For that reason, they have to be dealt with. All their military arsenal targeted, the top generals targeted, and of course Ayatollah, talking about the supreme leader of Iran, was taken out of the picture. And there are still news saying that the one that was appointed, the next Ayatollah, also that was given the mantle of leadership, that the demise of Ayatollah Khamenei has been taken out of the picture. What is really going on? Anyway, with me here in the studio talking about this is a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, both local and international politics. It's very grounded. Join me to welcome Barrister Abayomi Thomas. It's a pleasure to have you join me this afternoon on International Forum.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, viewers at home.
You're right. So very close to him. Yes, he is a lecturer in UNIBE International Relations, International Studies, and International. Once he starts, it's like going for class. He can give you history, antecedents, what led to this reason, what happened here, giving you years, giving you records, and how we find ourselves where we are. I like interviewing because I get to pick on one or two or three things when he starts teaching. I call him a lecturer. I say, Prof to me. Give to welcome Professor. Yep, I'm not calling me Prof because to me it's a Prof. Okay, Felix Osime, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Winston, good afternoon. Yes, at home, and welcome to the program.
Okay, 10 days came, 10 days elapsed. I saw the map, you were mobilizing their fleets towards Iran, and boom, that was how it all began. Barrister Abayomi Thomas, did this come as a surprise to you? Let's start off from there.
No. I've always expected that this day will come, because as long as Netanyahu remains the Prime Minister of Israel, and as long as his political ambition for the past 40 years has been to see the end of Ayatollah theological regime in Iran, I expected that he will continue until he sees the end of the theological regime, and it has happened.
It has happened.
It has always been his plan, his ambition, to see theology removed from administration of Iran. He sees them as a threat to Israel. And he said so last year, he said so on Saturday on TV. I'm not surprised, because it's easy for Netanyahu to persuade Trump, whether in his first tenure or now, to do his biddings. So I'm not surprised.
But remember that this was the same regime that said that Israel will be taken out of the map of the earth. And
there has been other American administrations.
Don't worry, I'll come back to you on that. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question. Were you surprised? Or you saw it coming?
No, I'm not surprised. It was a fallout. You remember June last year, Operation Roaring Lion, when Israel took to the skies at night over Iran, and they had the full support of President Donald Trump. In that particular episode, because it's now in series, the objective was to neutralize Iran's nuclear build-up. And in that incident in June last year, remember, the American government accepted and sent state bombers to Iran. And if you can recollect, about 2 weeks before that time, when we were on the same program, we mentioned a build-up. And I mentioned there, I explained then that the only type of bomb, the GBU-57, that can penetrate deep into the ground is in the position of the United States. Israel does not have it. No matter what Israel does, they cannot reach deep into the ground, into the bunkers created by Iran for their nuclear enrichment program. And that it's only the US that possesses that weapon, and that the US also has the carrying capacity to deliver it. 2 weeks later in June, they did it. June last year. But remember, in that episode too, Netanyahu pushed for the removal of Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah, and Trump said that was not the objective then. He did say then, if I take words from Netanyahu, said they were going to defang Iran. And Trump said then that was not the objective. The objective then was to obliterate their nuclear enrichment program. he did not say then that it is not to be conceived at all. He said that was not the objective 6 months ago. Or let's say it's about 8 months now, because we are talking of June 2025. So now we are in March 2026, and Ali Khamenei has been sent to his maker. Because a week ago he was still saying death to America. If America sends aircraft carrier to the Strait of Hormuz, they have the weapon. And you know, Trump as a leader operates differently from those who tend to be more restrained. He considers that threat as an active term, not an intention that may be carried out. As far as it's concerned, if you levy that threat, then he has to respond. So the build-up has been there. What is happening now should not surprise any keen observer of international politics, particularly as it applies to Iran, Israel, and other states in the Middle East.
All right. But say for almost 10 days was given to Iran to strike a deal, for them to come to kind of in a common ground for US not to strike or for Israel not to strike. You have 10 days to say no to uranium enrichment, no to your nuclear program. Do you feel that had it been that Ali, may God rest his soul, choose to play ball right now in court with the US and Israel, do you think all this bombing, all this killing, all this destruction taking place right now in Iran would have taken place?
I'm sorry to look at it from a different perspective. I'm a lawyer.
Yes.
The United States and Israel does not constitute the entire world. The League of Nations failed in 1939 because the League of Nations could not stop the scourge of war all over the world. That led to the formation of United Nations. Trump cannot just come to the world and begin to act as the policeman of the entire world. Otherwise, we will remain in a world that is lawless. It's absolutely lawless. Before Trump, there was Obama. Obama went through the United Nations, went with the Europeans. They had an agreement with Iran. Sanctions were placed on Iran. All the Security Council members of the United Nations followed. They were carried along. Then somebody just come and say, look, I'm the policeman, I'm the cowboy, nobody can do me anything. And you just begin to do anything you like. That is not how a civilized nation should be presented to the whole world. Nigeria cannot say because we are bigger than Ghana, the Republic, and we say we will do anything we like. Let's get to a deal. If you don't get a deal, I will arbitrate you. That is not how nations behave. You can see right now, whether 10 days or not 10 days, no European country has taken part in this illegal action of America and Israel. No.
And none has condemned it either.
They keep quiet because the reason why they are keeping quiet is this. Last month, Trump wanted Greenland by force. A territory that belongs to Denmark by force. The previous month, Trump went and wants America because Americans are not happy with what Trump is doing. Trump went to Venezuela, captured a sovereign head of state. Whether a dictator or not dictator, it's not Trump's duty to decide what happens to a sovereign head of state. He went there, paid the man. If we begin to say, oh, if Ali Khamenei had agreed to the terms of Donald Trump, which is a 10-day illegal deal, then it means that Trump can also come to Africa and pick any of your head of states or your presidents just because the man refused to go to a deal. We must look at it from the global perspective. Are these things right? Do we now have a policeman of the entire world? If it was those days when Russia was Russia, If it was when China is busy building up their own military, building up their economy. China, in 5 years' time, can go into Taiwan and annex Taiwan. America cannot do anything by that time. But they are busy building up their own. You see, I look at it from the angle that a man just come. If you look at, I saw the rating of Trump in America last week. 68% against him. He campaigned and said, I'm coming into power and there will be no war. The war between Russia and Ukraine, I will settle in 24 hours. But now he has become the greatest warmonger in the history of America. He has not spent more than 2 years in the second term. You have gone into Venezuela, you have gone into Iran, you wanted to take Greenland by force, and he's already planning to take Cuba, and he was asking Canada to become the 51st state of America. Is that how to build deals?
All right. So you say the 10 days window given is like an illegal window?
An illegal window.
Let me come to you, Prof. Remember, Trump gave enough time before the galvanized took their fleets to the Gulf. They're like, Ayatollah Ali when they to talk. Stop anything or everything about you enriching uranium, because we don't want you to have a nuclear armament that will be a threat to the world. Do you know this would have played differently? Had it been that the man listened?
I will find it difficult to understand why the man should listen anyway. Let's be very frank in our discussion and also put things in proper perspective. Iran still is a sovereign nation. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not just a sovereign state, it's a theocratic state. So you see, the two conditions there make it extremely difficult under any circumstance for them to accept that 10 days window. In fact, the 10 days window, frankly, is not factual, because legally, one state cannot give condition to another state when you are in negotiation. If you are giving a condition, then that is no longer negotiation. That is an imposition. We cannot run away from that reality. And again, this is why I'm smiling, because this is the power I talk of in the international political system. Now, what sovereignty makes equal, power makes unequal. This is the game that is playing out. Now, the playbook is this. The Americans, Trump knows his power. Trump is not just telling you that he has the power, he is using that power. And power without being used becomes useless. So he is not going to negotiate with you beyond the time he has told you. Trump also realized something that people are not seeing. Trump knows that China will not act. Trump knows that Russia will not act. Not because they are incapable of acting, but because they are not yet ready to act. In as much as their direct interest is not threatened, they will not budge. Interestingly, Ali Khamenei was banking on the fact that he has gotten surface-to-air missiles, missile defense system, anti-radar missiles from China. He had a lot. So, as far as it's concerned, I have something to share. And in international relations, we talk of tangible and intangible elements of foreign policy. So what are those tangible elements? So the ones you can see. The military, the instructions, the structure, then the air carriers, the fleets, the Republican Guard. Those ones are the physical things you can see. And the intangible things are those things that work behind the scene. Your ideology, your philosophy of existence, your network of friends. Now, when you go into tango, you have to draw on both sides. Look at the playbook that they used for Iran. Very easy. As soon as they corralled Iran, one fleet moved into the Mediterranean, another one moved into the Arabian Sea. So from the west, Iran is locked. From the eastern flank,
it's locked.
Iran is locked. That's why you see Iran throwing this barrage of ballistic missiles into.
We are coming to that also.
No,
Yes.
That's why I'm telling that it is not just enough to say should Iran have agreed. Whether Iran agreed or not, Trump already set the ball rolling. And Iran, you see, the Islamic Republic of Iran is not really a pushover. I must say that for them. When we are discussing this, we should be looking at the polemics properly. So the Islamic Republic of Iran is not a state that you just give a condition to, that they will swallow the condition and say, can go and sit down and be sulking in the corner. No, they will tell you to your face too that come across will come towards you. After all, in the long run, death is the end of all men. So no problem. Why don't we even die fighting? So they live well, they die well. And that is why even with the onslaughts, Iran is still responding. So the fact that we would expect Ali Khamenei and Ayatollah to accept a condition, that would not be possible. But if, as expected, it came through a multilateral international international governmental organization such as the United Nations or a high-profile group that may have been set up to address the challenge. Because the real truth is, from June last year, this thing has been. That's why I say it was not a surprise. It's been building up. So whether Iran agrees or not, in as much as Iran still continue to argue that they have a nuclear right, and right from the time of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, they've been arguing that point, that Iran has a nuclear right.
Okay.
That is the bone of contention.
Now, do you feel that Iran having a nuclear right will make the world a safer place? Because that seems to be the core of the issue. Do not stop anything about uranium enrichment. Forget about your nuclear, you having a nuclear armament or your dream. Do you feel, Barrister, that if Iran should have it, the world would be a better place?
What made Israel a superior country to Iran? Israel has nuclear weapons. Who stopped them? In 1952, President Eisenhower of America gave King Pahlavi, the Shah, uranium to enrich in Iran. Today you are being told that, oh, what President Eisenhower of America did in 1952 was for peaceful purposes. Why don't you allow Iran to have their weapon, their nuclear weapon, and see what it is for destroying the whole world?
After shouting death to America,
good. This is the problem. They are saying death to America, death to Israel. They're not saying death to England. They're not saying death to France. They're not saying death to China. Why can't the Americans, in fact, Barack Obama saw this. Joe Biden saw all this. They sought to look at the source of this problem of death to America, death to Israel. And they decided to go through multilateral agreement through United Nations. Not just force.
Sorry to cut in, Barrister.
Yes.
But in the time of Obama and, of course, Joe Biden, Israel gave the hint that Iran, they are building their nuclear weapons.
Nobody
they are enriching. But Iran denied it.
No, look, excuse me.
They said they are building, but not to the having a nuclear weapon.
Let them deny it. But I have just told you that Israel has nuclear weapon. Pakistan has nuclear weapon. India has nuclear weapon. Upon all the noise that Trump did in his first term, visiting North Korea, today what has happened? North Korea has nuclear weapon. But North Korea does not have oil. North Korea does not have oil. Israel has no oil. But Israel keep on insisting that the nuclear enrichment in Tehran, in Iran, is meant to destroy Israel. Israel wants to be the only country in the Middle East that is powerful. Right now, they are thinking of even going back into southern Lebanon again. They've killed, as at this afternoon, killed 52 southern Lebanese. They want to be the only power in the Middle East. So, if you even look at this crisis, that my friend has just said, the 10 days or not, Trump would have done what he wanted to do. But if you look at it, the Americans are even getting to agree that this killing of Ayatollah was not their own plan. The Israelis were the first to announce that Ayatollah has been killed. So they have their own different agenda. So the issue is, do not tell me Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, or they cannot enrich nuclear weapon because they are dangerous to Israel. Look at the distance between Iran and America. The point is, as long as the Jews, who are the policy makers, who influence policy in America, remain the power block, the billionaire Jews remain the power block in America, who influence the decisions of the Republicans. As long as they continue to play that role, they continue to influence the foreign relations of America with Israel. And as long as that continues, Israel will continue to push to be the only power in the whole Middle East. And if that becomes so, that Israel becomes the only power in the Middle East, and America becomes the only power in the whole world, does that make the whole world safer? It doesn't.
I'll come back.
It doesn't.
I'll come back to you, Barrister. Well, now let's take a look at terrorism. Some are saying that with this onslaught against Iran, that might just reduce terrorist activities globally. After all, Iran has been fingered for sponsoring so many terrorist cells globally. Prof, what do you feel about it?
It's not going to be so easy to cut back on acts of terror in different parts of the world. Now, the reason is this. Terrorism is hydra-headed. It may have a source that initiates its interest, but when it begins to move, it's like a stone that rolls down the hill, and it will create what we call the snowball effect. As snow is rolling down the hill, it begins to increase in size. It will even displace things that ordinarily would not have been a threat to it. So, terrorism, when they have what we call sleeper cells, if you have studied insurgency and terrorism, they create sleeper cells. Those cells will be in deep freeze for a long time. They can be activated at any time. And you cannot easily nip it in the bud. You keep going after them because they are ideas, and the ideological wars are the most difficult wars to end. That's why they are called non-conventional wars. You are talking of non-combatants who do not wear uniforms, who are driven by desire and purpose to achieve something. And many of them, in most instances, are willing to die for that cause that they believe in. So even if you remove Ali Khamenei today, it may be inspiring them, may be funding them. But if they reach the takeoff stage, they can continue on their own. And that is why whenever governments are facing insurgencies, governments do not use only the military approach, they use the political approach. In fact, they synergize. They take the best options from all angles, use economy, use information, use propaganda, sometimes even use blackmail, use threats. They have to go for an all-inclusive solution. So the removal of Ali Khamenei, yes, could dampen their enthusiasm. It is not a conclusive solution, but it can be a major setback. If, and use the word "it" and "if" because these are conditional terms.
Yes.
Of course, we have not been able to fully establish, even though by their rhetoric, Iran always encourage such things, and this is the problem. You see, we should be careful what we advertise. We should also be mindful of what we encourage, and that is the problem between Iran and America. I understand this power politics differently. Now, this is the danger. When a particular regime has been pushing for a particular narrative, it becomes a standard of evaluation and a definitive capacity. The Iranian regime is described in Western media in particular as the state sponsor of terror. Actions carried out by governments can be interpreted, and I've said it here in our discussions, that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So the way, for example, the Houthis of Yemen look up to Iran, and now the Houthis of Yemen are saying that they will go all out against Israel and America over this present onslaught that is being unleashed on Iran. So that's
These are terrorist group.
That's what they
That's what
have
you
been
call it.
classified. That's what they have been classified to be.
Yeah.
But if they go out to carry out, because acts of terror are described in clear terms, that's why we should always be very explicit. Now, acts of terror are not necessarily directed at military institutions or installations. Acts of terror are usually carried out against civilian or what we call soft targets. And the objective is to strike fear into the hearts of the populace and make the government of that particular state or society or community look incapable of protecting the citizens. And once that is achieved, then the government loses credibility. And when the government loses credibility, the government is now incapable of securing the patriotism of its own citizens. Then those same people that would have been protected by the government, who are now victims of acts of terror, even begin to accept the terrorists. So Stockholm syndrome will now come in. And this is why terrorists are extremely dangerous.
All right. We want to go for a break. When we return, I'm going to be asking Barrister A.B. Thomas this question. He said nobody made U.S. the police of the world. And I said it's Trump, not even the U.S. According to history, Biden gave some amount of money to Iran. Obama also did the same in billions of dollars. For what purpose? But Donald Trump came, changed the narrative, so they're throwing bombs. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
Independent television is 29. Hooray! The foremost and leading media outfit will on March 27th, 2026 mark its 29 years of existence. Wow! In this regard, ITV is putting up a lecture series that will be answering that salient question. Core Vadimus, Nigeria, where are we going? So come be part of the brainstorming lecture series, as erudite intellectuals are expected to be part of this year's lecture. Sponsors are Honorable Murphy Osaro Omowuyi, member representing Ego and Igbobaoka.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Welcome to Viewpoints on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji, and today on Viewpoint we're going to be talking about the current electricity issues and situations that we as business owners, as individuals, are facing in Nigeria, as over 80% of households lack adequate access to grid, as Nigeria's electricity sector suffers from chronic liquidity trap and infrastructural decay, leading to frequent national grid collapses, with generation dropping below 4,200 megawatts, far short of the 4,000 megawatts required for its citizens and population. It is a Viewpoint on ITV, and we're going to be looking at some of the key issues affecting our electricity sector in Nigeria. I am Caroline Okonji.
In terms of security of it, we need light.
And based on that, in some areas, it makes it difficult for us when we are on patrol at night, and we are even.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the urban...
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, South Nigeria. We're taking a look at the U.S.-Israel war on Iran, unearthing the issues, taking a look at the issues at stake. Now, Barrister A.B. Thomas, you said nobody made you as a police of the world. If U.S. can have nuclear armaments, Russia, they have theirs, China, North Korea, they have that. What prevents Iran from having theirs? Now, the question now is, in the world today, whether I want to believe it or not, some countries must lead. Are you now saying that the leadership of America is dangerous to the world because it's dangerous to Iran?
The leadership of America is dangerous to the world, particularly when you look at who is wielding that power. When Barack Obama was there, it was dangerous to the world. When Biden was there, it was dangerous to the world. We had other leaders before. You see, before that you bring somebody, I don't want to use some words, because if I have a madman close to my street, I have to be very careful, because it can throw stones.
Barrister, what's your emotions right now?
No, I'm not talking emotionally. I'm just saying, assuming I have somebody like that near my house, I have to be very careful. It may throw stones into my house. I have to be very careful. Now, what we are saying is this. Right now, the United Nations is dead. It's as dead as fried dodo. It is because of this experience that some countries were becoming dangerously powerful, that the League of Nations failed and the United Nations was created. And in creating the Nations, they created a body called the Security Council, made up of 5 permanent members. And these permanent members all have nuclear weapons. And the idea was that each one should act as a check and a balance on the powers of one another. But since Trump came, he has disobeyed every resolution of the Security Council. Let's forget that the United Nations is in New York. It doesn't matter. If it were to be even in Geneva or any other place, the same way Trump is behaving now, he would have behaved the same way. He has withdrawn America unilaterally without going through the Congress from so many agencies of the United Nations, including this climatic agency.
Because they said they are ripping America off. That's what he said.
Another person will come there tomorrow. You will see they will go back and join. What I'm saying is that it depends on the person who is leading America. America used to be the beacon of democracy. But now you will now have American dictatorship right now. And he dictates where to go to. I won't be surprised if without your invitation, he may go to the African country and do a similar thing. So we should be careful that nobody appointed America as the policeman of the world. Now, let me not use America. Donald Trump as the policeman of the world. But he is doing this because the Security Council is no longer in existence. America went into Afghanistan, the Security Council was involved. When America went into Nicaragua, Security Council voted. But in the case of Venezuela, there was no Security Council vote. They took it upon themselves. After killing so many people on this ISIS and say they were drug peddlers, they went on now to Iran. In fact, I can tell you, the person who is in power, who has the power in America, is very important as for the policing of the world. If any other American were to be the president of America today, I do not think they would have danced to the music of Israel to launch this attack. This attack is not the attack of America per se. It is the attack of two persons who have serious personal affinity. They have closeness. And Netanyahu and Trump have the same character in politics. They believe in the same philosophy. Right now, the philosophy that you are seeing playing out in Iran is not that of America taking of a regime change in Iran. But that has been the philosophy of one person, Netanyahu, in the past 40 years of his political career. And now you have killed about 40 leaders in Iran. What is left? Oh, America is saying, look, this is not our agenda. It's not our strategy. But we just want the Iranians to take over their government. How are you going to take over a government like that?
Okay.
Of 90 million people in a very large country. America is still saying, as at yesterday, we are not going to put boots on the ground. Iranians are saying, look, this is not Iraq. But at the same time, the way they are going now without an exit plan, without an exit plan, when I say exit plan, without a United Nations support. So the United Nations would have been the diplomatic channel through which they were able to withdraw the destruction of Iran. Without that, they will end up sending troops into Iran. And that will be only America, because Israel will not have the ability to send weapons, to send troops into Iran.
All right, I'll come back to you, but thank you very much. Well, you heard what he said. Nobody gave Trump, especially according to him, the right to do what he is doing right now. But some of the opinion that President Donald Trump is the only man that has the guts to do what previous American president couldn't do. And with this action, there'll be peace in the Middle East. What's your take on that?
If you write on top of sand, if you write on sand, you write 6 and you write 9. Depending on which side you stand, they are the same. So American presidents are American presidents. The fact that Obama may have been more genial in his expression, more convincing, did not mean that he was less dangerous than Trump. This is power. Obama ordered the elimination of Osama bin Laden inside Pakistan, an ally of the United States of America, without even notifying Pakistan. They went in, extracted him, eliminated him, dumped him into the sea, and they now announced to the world, oh, we have just done this. Everybody was saying, oh, Obama, you don't look like that. Now, in the same way, the American system is a system. It can try to run very fast, or it can try to move at a steady pace. But what is important is that the objectives are clear. They don't negotiate with terrorists. They don't do that. They don't accept regimes that can threaten their position. And let me expand this discussion a bit. If we go back to the history of collective security, which is what Barrister A.B. Thomas is mentioning here, talking of League of Nations to United Nations. The reason why the League of Nations failed is the reason why America is doing what it is today. And why the League of Nations failed? League of Nations failed because there was no powerful state, or the very powerful states did not even recognize the League. For example, Japan entered the League and left because she felt the League could not do anything. Germany was admitted in 1933. Germany left almost immediately under Hitler. Okay, Germany came in before 1933 and left in Hitler's time. So Russia joined and later was not the only power.
So you're saying they lacked leadership?
The only power that stayed from the beginning in 20 1921 when it was formally pronounced.
1921?
Yeah, 1920, 1921, because First World War ended in 1918. They then started developing the Treaty of Versailles was in 1919, June 1919, that was signed in the Hall of Mirrors. That was the treaty that gave birth to the League of Nations. So by the time it was structured, that time Russia just finished its revolution in 1917. It was now being created to USSR that took off in 1921. All right, so what happened was that only Britain and France were in League of Nations from the beginning to the time it was eclipsed by the United Nations in 1939 and finally was absorbed into what became the United Nations in 1945 at the end of the Second World War. So only 2 of them. And these 2 of them were spent powers. Spent because in 1871 and in 1914, Germany dealt with France twice. In fact, each time the war started, it was always France that Germany will remove from the picture first. Even in 1939, Germany still removed France. So 1871, 1914, 1939, Germany always removed France from the picture. That is settled. So the only power that could actually stand on its own was Britain. That's why Winston Churchill, as the Prime Minister of Britain, kept saying, we will fight and fight and fight on the shores of England, because they knew that one thing that they had that was their power then was that Britain was an island state. So to come down from continental Europe to come and take over Britain, that was why Napoleon could not conquer England. That was why Germany could not defeat England. Even when Hitler tried it in 1940, the bombing of London with the Luftwaffe sent thousands of planes. Britain simply painted all their windows black, so there was no radar then. You couldn't just pinpoint. But they tried and bombed London. Then they sent their ROF to Berlin. Now, what is the situation here? America came out from the crumbs of Second World War. In fact, when America entered First World War in 1917, they turned the tide of the war. In 1939, when Second World War started, America did not join. America entered the war in 1941 when they bombed Pearl Harbor, when Japan did that. So Japan welcomed them into the war. Okay, each time they entered the war, they changed narrative. So by 1945, it was clear that America was a dominant power. Now this is where it becomes interesting. The hegemonic power of the US was fully expressed for the first time in the history of the world in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. America is the only power that has used the atomic bomb in war. Now this is getting very interesting. The greatest human inventions are always carried out during war. Let us not run away. In fact, the 80% of medical research that was carried out that has changed the tide of human development in medicine was carried out by Germany. During Second World War. You know why? They were using human beings for life experimentation.
Yeah. All right.
Bombs that are used in war are only effective when they have been tested in the field of play.
So you say they're testing bombs right now?
They're even testing weapons already. Okay, I'm coming back to the issue of America being the policeman. Okay. I'm building up the argument. Please, just give me a few minutes to explain this. Right. So the American position, therefore, it's not going to be something that will not happen. That's why when my co-discussor started it, I understand the point he's making, but he's taking it more from the moral side. I'm looking at it from the side of power as an institutional mechanism in the international political system. Okay. Every time there must be a hegemon. We are judging America today. By 2035, we'll be judging China. China that is not talking, they are not better than America. They are waiting for their turn. And when they get to their turn, they will do these same things. All right. This is why power itself is the issue. And each state will use it differently. The Americans are just using it the way Trump is just using his own.
Thank you.
Much acclaim.
Thank you. Now, hold on. I know you have a lot to say, but just add it to this question. Iran are attacking its neighbors. Doesn't make sense. It's sort of like we never allowed US to use our airspace to attack Iran, and now you're throwing bomb at us, and they're about to retaliate. Now, what sense can you make out of this?
I start with the issue of Osama bin Laden and Barack Obama.
Yes.
Osama bin Laden was never a sovereign president. He wasn't. We must be able to distinguish little things. Osama bin Laden was a person
that struck the heart of US.
That's what they said. But he was never the president of a country. Noriega was the president of
Nicaragua.
Maduro was the president of Venezuela. Ayatollah Khomeini was the supreme leader of Iran. So distinguish these things with a fine comb. So when you are talking of policeman of the world, we're not talking of just morality alone. We look at the legality of your actions, not just the morality. If every country or every person who is in power cannot begin to do what you are doing as a policeman of the world, it will get to your turn. And when you begin to cry, nobody will listen to you. This is the time to say what you are doing is wrong. Nobody appointed you to be doing what you are doing. The British Prime Minister, who is a seasoned lawyer, who said you can't use our territory, is not a fool. Though one of the drones from Iran hit their base in Cyprus, that has not made him to say, America, come and use your bases in the UK. We are talking of legality, not just the morality. So if Osama bin Laden was picked up without going to Security Council, Osama bin Laden was an individual person, not a president of a country. That is what I'm trying to say. And if I get your question,
Iran throwing bombs on Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, you just named it.
Has been saying,
the fact that they said U.S. cannot use their airspace, U.S. obeyed.
Iran has said all along, we don't have weapons that will go from Iran to America, because of the distance. Unlike North Korea, that has the weapon now that can travel from North Korea to America. Iran doesn't possess that kind of weapon. So, American embassy in the Gulf states is American territory. Where you like it or not, go and read your international law.
Extraterritoriality.
True. You are right about
so,
it. But it's the country.
Excuse me. Even the owners of the countries can't just get into the American embassy anyhow. Nigeria cannot enter American embassy anyhow. Nigeria cannot enter Togo embassy in Lagos and in Abuja anyhow. We cannot. That is international law. So they have said, if you attack us, we will attack your nearest territory to us, where we can reach you. That is why they've attacked the American base in Kuwait. That is one of the reasons why you find Nigeria is afraid to accept any country having a base in Nigeria. You are indirectly calling for trouble. You may have a territory, Burkina Faso had base, Niger Republic had base, but it didn't stop the government from being changed. Because those bases will not interfere in your internal affairs. They are sovereign territory within your own country.
Now, what if Saudi choose to fight back? What then happens to Iran?
If
Saudi choose to make up their threat by striking back at the heart of Iran.
Very good. That would be, you see, that is exactly what Iran is looking for. It will be falling into their own game plan. Their game plan is, let's just destroy all the oil facilities in the Gulf. And
you say such to possess nuclear weapon?
No. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this. Saudi Iran is saying, we don't possess weapons that will reach America. We have weapons that will reach Israel. And they are firing to Israel. All right? But they can't get to America. They are saying, America, your bases near us, which are your own territory in international law. They even informed the United Nations that American bases within our area of reach will become legitimate targets in law, which they are in law. And they are attacking those territories, like those bases. So if they do that, the owners of the territory, if they now, see, we have what's called collateral damage in law.
Yes.
And when Israel attacked Qatar during Hamas meeting,
yes,
and some Qataris were also killed, Qatar complained. So if the Kuwaitis or the Qataris or the Saudis or any of those countries, Bahrain, people who are not part of the American bases are affected, those Gulf states have a right in law to complain.
And they have a right
to also attack. They also have a right. But what I'm trying to say is that when that happens, the Strait of Hormuz, which is just like 3 kilometers in length, where most of the oil shipping passes, will become in America. No. It's not because they can defeat Israel in Israel. No. They are trying to call world attention. Since there's no more United Nations Security Council, they are trying to call world attention to say, look, stop this attack.
All right.
So nobody made anybody a policeman. I still repeat on that point.
Okay. Now, Russia didn't say anything because press for time right now. China isn't saying anything. Does that not tell the world that
they say something?
No. I just said restraint. Don't have that in support of what US and Israel is doing to Iran.
No. They are not. Why I say they're not is this. The Russians at the beginning of the war with Ukraine,
celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari, Oba Tope!
Call their losses right now, whether Trump is approved as policeman of the world or not. Now, in hegemonism, there is always a state that will show that power. You don't need to tell them to do it. They will do it because they have the ability to do it.
All right. That is the paper. Brazil gave us football. Brazil power.
That is
our time is up. But as it stands, is this the end of the Ayatollahs in Iran?
No. The Ayatollahs are not going to be removed altogether. They will still remain. The only thing is that they are going to undergo modification.
Thank you. Well, you heard them. AB information, of course, Professor Felix has already spoken the mind on this. Just